Okay, thank you, welcome. I just want to preface this talk by saying some of the things that I talk about in terms of weight loss and diets are not advice for the rest of your life. We're talking about a short-term diet for a specific goal, and it's very different to behavior change and life kind of changes that we will make to sustain that. So it's a short-term thing, so don't take it out of context and like, I should do this for the next 10 years, because that's not the case. So I'm going to go through kind of tips of weight loss leading up to a fixed date, like a wedding. Because there are some goals like, I want to get fit for summer. That can change. Okay, I'm going to go for autumn instead. Your wedding is, hopefully, it's not going to move. So we can't change that date. So we've really got to work on those weeks leading up to that final dress fitting or whatever it is. So the first thing that I would recommend that everyone would do is calorie counting. A lot of people hate that term, they don't want to do it. But when it's a fixed time limit, 12 weeks, 18 weeks, whatever it is, calorie counting is what you really need to do. I don't calorie count because I'm not losing weight. But if I was to go into a weight loss phase, I would 100% count my calories. Because knowing what is within your limits every single day, because you don't want to have to give up all the foods you love. We don't want to give up chocolate, we don't want to give up donuts, we don't want to give up pizza, but knowing, okay, if I do eat that, what can I eat for the rest of the day that's going to fill me up, right? So when I do talk about calories, it helps you with portion sizes. How many people do you know that eat this huge meal on their plate, and actually that adds up to 1,500 calories in one meal? So counting your calories on an app on your phone is one of the best ways to track those portions. So many people I've worked with have learned about portion sizes and have now reduced that so that they can eat more throughout the day. But when we do talk about numbers, there are some numbers that are super helpful. Grams of protein, calories, this kind of thing. Not all numbers are going to help us. For example, BMI. You know, we hear that a lot. Doctors use your BMI, but it's not the best number to look at. For example, the BMI. Would anyone say that I'm overweight? I wouldn't put myself in the overweight category, right? But according to BMI, I'm overweight. So if I go to see an NHS doctor, they're going to tell me I need to lose weight, which I personally wouldn't agree with. So some numbers are great, yes. Let's count our calories, our grams of protein, things like that. Some numbers like BMI, we really can't ignore. Chuck them out the window, we don't need them, okay? Another number that is helpful and isn't helpful, of course we want to see the scale weight go down. Of course we want to see that if we're losing weight. But we don't want to weigh ourselves too much, because fluctuations in weight when we're losing weight are completely normal, especially as a woman. Period, after your period, before your period, all those things, it's going to fluctuate your weight. You might even have to take a diet break for 1 week. So what people want their weight loss to look like on a graph is this. What it actually looks like is this. It will go up and down, so we don't want to weigh ourselves every day. Once a week is fine to kind of track the progress. There are other ways to track our progress. For example, photos. Photos are a great way. You don't have to show anyone, you can keep them to yourself. Take a photo every 4 weeks. Also, we can use a tape measure for our legs, our arms, our stomach. Because sometimes even if the scale's not changing, especially if we are into fitness, the way we look, we might get a bit more muscle. The scale might not be changing, but other things are changing. You know, there's other things to focus. Am I feeling a bit less tired? Do I have a bit more energy? Are things easier? Am I going up and down the stairs easier? Now, I'm going to say a crazy statement. Don't take it out of context. Don't exercise for fat loss. I'm not saying don't exercise. Of course, I exercise. But don't use it as a fat loss tool. And that is because there's 24 hours in a day. your exercise is taking 1 hour. What about the other 23 hours of the day? Right, so, Grant, come on, hold this. Hold it. I'm going to explain with this analogy. So, here are all your calories in the day. 50% of your calories are your basal rate. That is just what we use being like this all day. Doing nothing. You burn calories. That's 50%. Right? That's not your exercise. That's just your body laying down, sleeping, literally doing nothing. You have another around 20% on your neat. Neat is fidgeting, me moving my arms, scratching your head, going to the car, all these things, that also burns calories, right? The next sort of around 15% is thermic effect of food. That means when you eat, it actually costs your body calories to break down the food that you're eating. Now, do you see what's left? This bit here, that's your exercise. That's where the rest of your calories are. So you see we have so much to concentrate on before we concentrate on exercise. Thank you. There are so many other benefits to exercise we can concentrate on. Quality of life, gaining muscle, feeling good, getting stronger, getting fitter, finding things easier. Also avoiding this skinny fat, which is the new buzz term that everyone talks about. When you lose all the fat and then underneath you've got no muscles to show. I'm not saying you need to get ripped, but avoiding this, that's why we exercise. There's so many benefits. Reducing the risk of stroke, cardiovascular disease, heart disease. There's so many benefits to exercise. We just don't necessarily need to use it to think, oh, if I go to the gym, I can burn 300 calories and then I can eat a chocolate bar. Like, don't think of it like that. Think of it of all the other benefits. The next big thing when you're going on a diet, there's two kinds of people you need not to listen to. One is your friends and family. That sounds terrible, but Sandra next door or Joe from the gym, if they've done a diet and it's worked for them, great. It does not mean that diet is going to work for you. There are a million diets, all of them work if you as a person can stick to them. I might be able to do a low carb diet. You might struggle on a low carb diet and you do a high carb diet. As long as an energy deficit is created, we're taking in less calories, that's the only thing that matters. If you can stick to it, it's going to work. If you can't, forget it. So if Sandra next door is telling you, well, I did all these things, that does not mean it's going to work for you. The same, just because someone's in the gym doesn't mean it's going to work for you. The next person not to listen to is all these crazy health gurus on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, whatever. Red flags to look out for is saying like big sciencey words and then not really explaining them, because it makes you think that they know what they're talking about. Then like if they don't provide any evidence to what they're talking about. So for example, whenever I talk about things on Instagram or whatever, I'll say this study showed this, or this was done in this and it showed this. When they're just saying, for example, okay, don't drink Coke, it's going to give you cancer. That's the craziest one I've seen lately. There's no evidence. Like, these are the kind of people that you don't want to listen to, the red flags. Like, scroll past, let's ignore these people. Next, so I was talking to someone earlier actually, and they were talking about, oh yeah, but I don't need to do that because it's not going to make much difference. But if you think about all the small things that you can put into place and they all add up, for example, getting enough sleep every night, aiming for that 7 to 9 hours. I know I'm the worst for it. I think I slept 5 hours last night. I'm terrible for it. But that in weight loss has been shown in studies. Getting enough sleep is huge. Then there's like increasing your steps. What's your average right now? Is it 6,000, 7,000? Okay, let's start aiming for 8,000. Increasing your overall activity. If you are working in an office or have a quite sedentary job, how can I increase it? Can I park further away? All these small steps add up to a huge thing. And then another thing in that is kind of accepting before you start a weight loss journey, you're not going to be perfect. I'm a nutritionist. I'm not perfect. You've got to accept that in advance so that when you kind of do think, oh, I didn't do great on my diet today, think, well, that's okay. We've allowed for that. Reset. Don't wait for Monday. Don't think, oh, well, you know, this weekend I'm going to have this takeaway tonight, and then tomorrow I'm going to have another takeaway, and then think, okay, I did that at this meal. Reset at the next meal. At the next opportunity you have to reset, don't wait for Monday. Monday never comes. And we do it not just in nutrition, we do it in hobbies, we do it in all areas of our life. Oh, yeah, I'll do it on Monday. That Monday literally never comes. So reset at the next opportunity. If that's the next meal, the next morning, reset. And allow yourself, right, I didn't do great. Where do we go from here? Don't go on a downward spiral of, I messed up, all or nothing mentality, well, I'll just mess up for the next 3 days. That's not going to help you. We really want to focus on 80, 90%, 10% messing up. But allow that before you start. And then one thing I really want to talk about is, because when people are on a diet, they struggle with, I'm hungry, I don't know what to eat, I don't have enough calories. So, here's my helper. This is your stomach, right? We want to concentrate on volume eating. What do I mean by that? For example, we have this wonderful little flapjack here. Tasty, I'm not denying that, tasty. This. Okay, can't open it. This in our stomach, look how much space that takes up. That is 375 calories. Look at all this space. I'm still hungry after I've eaten that, right? I'm eating something else afterwards. Or we have this nice big bag of I'm not saying eat just a bag of vegetables by itself. Put some sauce, put some noodles, put other things in. But now look at our stomach. How full is it? That's 208 calories. So that's almost half of what that flapjack is. Yet look how much fuller we are. So if we want to implement things like that in our diet, it's called volume eating, filling ourselves up on low calories. If we mix that with a sauce, with some protein noodles, which in Tesco is £3, by the way, on the meal deal, that is going to fill us up for much longer than that small, tiny flapjack that's almost 400 calories. It's delicious, I'm not denying that, but it's a tool that we really need to think about. Thanks. And the final kind of advice I would give is get some form of coach, whether that's a PT, a nutritionist, whatever it is, but you need someone to hold you accountable. It's so hard to do it by yourself, like so hard. Everyone's tried it, right? How many diets have you been on? Oh, I've tried this, I've tried that. When, especially like maybe your partner's not dieting, or maybe you've got kids to look after, you're not putting yourself first, you need someone that is putting you first. You need someone to hold you like, okay, this happened this week, what can we do to change that next week? Oh, you did great on that, what about this, you know? You really need someone to hold you accountable. So look into what it is, because we don't invest in our health, whereas our health should be the number one investment, because we're adding years to our life, you know? So, thank you. I do have a stand over there. If you want any advice, any more questions, any calorie tips.